Well, there's two bills right now that are working their or trying to work their way through. Oh, there's Damon. So perfect timing. Let me talk about HB 19 first. So HB 19 was and Damon, correct me if I'm wrong, but HB 19 got postponed, correct? Is what
That
I
is correct, and
understand.
that was
Yeah.
tabled.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I'll introduce you in a minute, Damon. But so HB 19 was they were trying to put a transfer tax on real estate sales. So basically, they wanted to tax you when you sell or buy a property. Um, and at this point, that one has been shot down.
Thank
So
goodness.
thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Damon Maddox, Maddox Management. If you've been around Albuquerque, been in around the city, you've probably seen Maddox Management signs. I mean, gosh, Damon, how long has your family been in the real estate business?
45 years.
Yeah, there you go. So you guys are kind of legendary in Albuquerque, and especially on the property management side. But your father has done so much, and yourself so much for the real estate world and real estate industry. So thank you for that. But
Thank
the
you very
reason
much.
I got you on, Damon, is we want to talk about HB 111.
Yes.
Which is out there right now. And so, first off, Damon, if somebody wants to reach out to you, talk about property management, how do they get a hold of you?
They give us a call here, Maddox Management, 505-242-0989, or visit
Awesome,
our website, maddoxmgmt.com.
awesome. Tell us about HB 111.
So HB 111, it's uh, revamping the Uniform Owner Resident Relations Act, which is the landlord tenant laws for the state of New Mexico. Um, it's definitely something that needs to be looked at from time to time. We last time it was revised was almost 20 years ago. So when we heard that something was coming along, we weren't you know it didn't catch us off guard. But when we finally saw the actual bill that they're proposing, the changes they're proposing, there's a lot of unintended consequences.
That was one of my takeaways when I saw it. I started going through it, going, "Oh my gosh, this is going to backfire," especially on what I would consider some of the the people on the margins, both as property owners as well as potential tenants and stuff. I don't know. Was that your take too?
That was definitely my take. Their intent is to help grow the workforce housing, help us, the industry combat the homeless issue that we have in our state, particularly in our bigger cities. But the way they're trying to go about it is just it's going to cause much bigger problems and it's not going to fix what they're trying to fix.
Yeah. So
Um,
so give us just some of the proposals that are out there that concern the property management community and
Well,
landlord
so
community.
the big concerns that we're having with these changes is the amount of time for an eviction, both for non-payment of rent and for lease violations. Um, right now, start to finish, it can take about 28 days to go through that whole process from the time you serve that first notice. If this passes, it's 56 days for for an eviction process for somebody that's been destroying the property, a
Wow.
violation other than non-payment of rent. They're taking that initial 7-day notice and making it a 14-day notice, and you've got to do that twice before you can even file with the courts.
Wow.
The other notable things that they want is they're adding they want to add source of income as a protected class, which in and of itself is not a bad thing.
Sounds
But
good on the surface. Yeah. Yeah.
when you're forcing landlords to take the Section 8 vouchers, you're essentially stifling the amount of rent that they can collect. It's more almost like a rent freeze for them. Um,
So wait. So this bill proposes that landlords, if somebody comes with a Section 8 voucher, which if anybody in the world, they know what that is. So that's somebody low income, they get a voucher to help supplement their rent, correct?
Correct.
But you're saying that landlords can't deny somebody because they're on a voucher plan?
That is correct.
Interesting.
So provided they meet all the other criteria, they have to accept the voucher. As a company, we work with these voucher programs, and the city run or the government run programs are, wonderful to work with. The issue that we have sometimes is with the nonprofits that are offering these vouchers. They don't train their clients, their tenants, the whole process. They don't follow up on inspections like
Sure.
the government run ones do. So I have some owners that do not want to take vouchers, for that reason alone. You have great programs, Bernalillo County Housing. They inspect their properties, and their clients. They help us as property managers make sure that the tenant's not destroying the place, that they're doing what they have to do to stay in their program. And same thing with the city of Albuquerque's housing. But some of the nonprofit ones do not. Some of them are great and some of them are not. And to have to force an owner to accept all of them would be a detriment, I think.
Let me ask this: what's the status? I mean, you and I talked here earlier, but what's the status of the bill right now?
So the bill was in Judiciary Committee last week. It was sent back to have some revisions done to the bill. Some of the things that were asked for, that we asked some changes to be made, and they just released yesterday a new version of the bill, but it's pretty close to the first version.
Got it.
So we'll see what it does in the Judiciary Committee when it goes back for a vote.
What is the property management community asking from the legislature?
Well, first we're asking for a seat at this table. We were not invited to help work on this legislation.
Really?
If they simply asked us to, we could point out, the things that where they're trying to get something to work correctly. We can let them know exactly, where that needs to change. And we'd love for it to be a two-way street.
Yeah. Eddie, do you have any questions on this?
No, I don't. I think it's pretty straightforward, and he's pretty much staying on top of it. So it's very interesting how bad this will impact, I think, all of the real estate industry. I think it totally takes away any and all investment in real estate going forward, which I think is really concerning for everybody. I think the biggest problem that comes in as being a former practitioner of real estate is this literally gets rid of those LLCs of people who are investing in properties, who are reshaping properties and doing all that type of thing. So, for a company, and this is what's really stressing me out, is seeing the Maddox company, whose names are basically number one when it comes to residential property management. This sort of puts them out of business, and they've got to now increase their cash flow probably 2 to 3 months just to accommodate the new rules, because they're hedging on the side of the tenants. And, that's not unfortunate. That's, in my opinion, that's criminal. And I think it's just really bad, Tego.
Hey, Damon, tell Eddie what you told me earlier about the investors coming into New Mexico and what one of your concerns is.
Well, so yeah, that's exactly right. My biggest concern, what I see right now, we have lots of investors coming in from California, from New York, and they're investing in our communities and buying up some properties and turning them around. And they always tell me that they're coming to New Mexico because our laws aren't as strict as California or New York. And these changes put us in line with California and New York. So you're going to see less people wanting to come and invest.
I think obviously we want to make it clear, like we want, tenant. I mean, the reality is right now, if tenants don't do what they're supposed to do, I mean, it's still a long process to make the landlord whole, correct? Or sometimes the landlord never gets made whole.
That is correct. It is, and I completely agree with you, Tego. We have an issue with workforce housing
Yeah.
that we need to solve, and everybody deserves to live somewhere and have a good place to live, but not at the expense of of these investors or these people that are putting their hard earned money into our communities.
Well, one of the things that occurred to me is,
like to
go
say,
ahead, Eddie.
Tigo, is that everyone has their stories, everyone has their ideas about, oh, I've been impacted by COVID. But one of the things that happens ultimately, and Ben knows this probably better than, or Damon knows this better than anybody, and that's the fact that stories will keep turning into more stories, and ultimately, if you're having to pick up the phone to call a constable just to kind of evict your tenant, there's going to be significant damage inside. Not only is there no respect between tenant and landlord, which all of the laws now are really weighted towards, especially if this passes, towards the tenant. But I mean, you're going to be dealing with real huge repairs and remodeling every single time you have a tenant. And could we do a minimum of 3 years on a lease? With no going out, first months, last months, and first 2 months in. I mean, I think the landlords are going to be forced to turn this into something that's not even marketable, because it's going to be cheaper to get into a house to purchase than it is going to be able to rent. And, our escalations have been tremendous here in this market.
They
and
sure
on the landlord side, I'd say that's good, but you've had rent escalators somewhere between 7 to 10%, Tego and Damon. And that makes it really healthy for the investors from outside the market to say, hey, you know what? This is a very affordable place to live. We can get in at a good rate, and there's still lots of room. Housing affordability is at an all-time high, but these people just want to rent for whatever reason. And that's just going to completely wipe out. And I do mean wipe out and decimate, I think, the rental market.
It will.
And it'll happen over a trickle-down effect over the next 3 to 5 years, where people are just making the determination that, hey, unless we have your first, last month's, and next of kin sign on the dotted line, you ain't renting from us, and then no one's going to rent. I think.
Bingo.
People
Bingo.
are just going to sell.
You just nailed it, Eddie. And that's the thing, is this type of bill, it's going to hurt the people on the margins the most. So you think about, obviously, the renter that's got a low credit score, that's maybe on a voucher or whatever it is, they're going to get looked at even more. They're going to be scrutinized even more. But then the other side is, Damon, what was the number? How many people in New Mexico that are landlords are just small mom and pop, own a couple properties, right? Those are the people that are going to get hurt. It's not the big, huge corporate, apartment owners, right? They got deep pockets. They can absorb it. But that little mom and pop guy that owns a couple rental properties and they can't get rent for 2 or 3 months, that's the people that's going to hurt.
And they're already being hurt.
Yeah.
And deciding to sell.
Hurt.
I've had many customers.
A majority of our clients, I'd say, I don't know about the entire state, but I'd say, 80% of our clients are mom and pop, single investors. Some of them, they've inherited property. I've got several widows, and this is their retirement income. They invested with their husbands, and now that this is their retirement. So when they can't get rent for 2 or 3 months, I mean, that's their monthly income that they're hoping to pay their own bills with.
That's a great point. Well, we could